The garden center is where a lot of bad landscaping starts. Not because the plants are bad, but because we buy them without a plan. So here are 9 things to check before you spend a single dollar on plants. This simple checklist covers everything from sunlight and spacing to water, design, and what your yard looks like in January. It all starts with the one factor that matters most. Number 1, sun first, plant second. Before you buy a single plant, take a minute to check how much sun each spot in your yard really gets. Full sun means at least 6 hours of direct sunlight. Think about the hottest part of the day, not just a bright morning. Partial sun or part shade is 3 to 6 hours, and shade is anything less. The quickest test is the shadow stick method. Stand a stick upright at noon and check the length of its shadow. A short, sharp shadow means strong sun. A long shadow or dappled light means less. If you want a modern shortcut, SunPath apps on your phone can map sunlight hour by hour, even predicting how the light shifts through the seasons. Studies show that planting in the wrong light can increase wilting and stress by about 45%. Label each bed, full sun, part sun, or shade before you even look at plant tags. It's a 30-second check that saves you from disappointment later. In second place, that tiny pot at the garden center is just the starting point. It is never the finish line. Every plant tag lists a mature height and width, and those numbers matter more than most shoppers realize. Most nursery plants are only 1 to 3 years old, so it is easy to picture them staying small. But in a single season, a so-called dwarf shrub can double or triple in size, quickly crowding walkways or blocking windows. Before you buy, pause and imagine the plant's full growth envelope and how much space it will actually need when it is all grown up. A good rule of thumb is this. For perennials, allow about 3/4 of the mature width between plants. For shrubs, give them the full width. Retailers who add a bold size alert label on tags have seen plant returns drop by 1/4, simply because shoppers knew what to expect. Planning for mature size up front helps you avoid overcrowding, disease, and the headache of digging out overgrown plants later. It is not just about what looks good in the cart, but about what fits your yard for years to come. Third on our list, 3 looks like a design. 1 looks like a test. When you plant in groups, 3, 5, or even 7 of the same plant, the yard feels intentional and full, not scattered or random. This is the old rule of odds from landscape design, and it is not just for show. Studies have found that clustering in odd numbers makes a bed look about 40% fuller compared to planting singles. It also means 20% less maintenance because you can water, feed, and prune whole batches instead of chasing after lonely one-offs. A group of 3 creates a visual triangle, drawing the eye and giving the garden natural rhythm. Next time you are tempted to grab just one pretty perennial, pause and ask if you can fit 3. The result is a yard that feels pulled together and is easier to care for. No more patchwork of orphans, just a garden that grows in harmony. Number 4, pretty doesn't mean easy, especially in the garden. Every plant comes with its own maintenance demands, and those glossy blooms at the store can hide a lot of behind-the-scenes work. Before adding anything to your cart, take a moment to sort plants into 3 care levels: low, medium, and high. Low maintenance choices, like sedum or ornamental grasses, ask for 5 minutes or less per week. Think of them as set and forget. Medium care plants, such as daylilies or hydrangeas, need 5 to 15 minutes a week, a little deadheading here, a bit of pruning there. High-maintenance beauties like peonies and roses can eat up more than 15 minutes a week with dividing, disease checks, and careful pruning. Matching your plant picks to the time you are willing to spend each week keeps the garden joyful, not overwhelming. Ambition is great, but sustainability is better. A yard that fits your rhythm will always look its best. Number 5. Water runs the yard, whether you plan for it or not. Every plant you bring home has a thirst level, and the difference between drought-tolerant and water-hungry can be dramatic. Drought-tolerant picks like lavender or sedum need less than a quarter gallon of water per square foot each week. Moderate users, like hostas or daylilies, require up to half a gallon. High-water plants like impatiens or ferns demand more than half a gallon weekly, and that adds up fast. If your area gets less than 12 inches of rain a year, experts recommend keeping high-water plants under 10% of your total beds. That's not just about saving on your water bill. It's about avoiding wilted, stressed-out plants during summer bans or drought alerts. Before you fall for a lush, leafy beauty at the store, check your local rainfall and your willingness to irrigate. Matching your plant list to your water reality means fewer headaches and a garden that thrives without constant rescue. Number 6. Less color, more calm. When it comes to picking plants, it is tempting to grab every bright bloom in sight. But a yard with just 2 or 3 main colors feels soothing and pulled together, even if you are working with a small space or a tight budget. Color psychology research actually backs this up. Limited palettes make a garden more comfortable to look at and easier to remember. The simplest approach is to pick one of 3 schemes: complementary, like blue and orange for bold contrast; analogous, such as purple, pink, and magenta for a gentle flow; or monochrome, sticking with shades of green or silver for subtle texture. You do not need to memorize the color wheel, just look for plants that echo each other's main hue. A simple palette does not mean boring. It means every bed looks intentional instead of chaotic. The bonus? When winter comes and flowers fade, your garden's structure stands out, not a jumble of mismatched leftovers. Number 7. Flowers fade, structure stays. When the first frost hits, most yards lose their color and turn flat overnight. In fact, a recent survey found that 60% of homeowners do nothing to add interest after the blooms are gone, leaving beds empty for months at a time. But a garden with winter structure keeps its backbone through every season. That means including at least one anchor in each bed, an evergreen like boxwood or rhododendron, a clump of ornamental grasses with seed heads that dance above the snow, or even a tree with striking bark or sculptural branches. These elements carry the garden through winter's quiet months, giving you something to enjoy on gray days. Before you buy another round of spring showstoppers, pause and check your beds for year-round anchors. A simple checklist of evergreen plants, grasses, bark, or even a piece of garden art turns a fleeting display into a landscape that holds its shape, no matter the weather. Number 8. Buy for the bed, not the cart. It is easy to get swept up by a sea of color at the garden center and fill your cart with whatever catches your eye. But here is the real test. Before you reach the checkout, pause and ask, what does this plant actually solve in my yard? A recent study found that 68% of plant purchases are unplanned, triggered by those tempting displays and low prices. The result? Beds jammed with mismatched heights, textures, and water needs, just like the viral shrub monster video where a homeowner's impulse hedge blocked the driveway and led to a costly redesign. When you start with a 4-question design brief, focusing on height, texture, privacy, and structure, you buy only what fits a real need. That same shrub monster yard, once a plan was in place, reduced irrigation by 30% and looked better for it. So next time, shop with your beds in mind, not just your cart. Number 9. Less is more when you're starting out. The garden center might tempt you with dozens of options, but the best way to build a yard you actually enjoy is to begin with a handful of reliable plants. Most shoppers leave with 4 or 5 per visit, and that's just right for a starter palette. Think 3 to 5 perennials, 1 or 2 shrubs, and a single ground cover to knit things together. This isn't about restraint for its own sake. It's about giving yourself a chance to learn each plant's needs without getting overwhelmed by different watering, feeding, and pruning schedules. After 2 seasons, you can always add more varieties that play well with your original picks. Starting small makes it easier to spot what's thriving, what needs tweaking, and what you love most. Instead of a yard full of confusion, you get early wins and a garden that grows with you. One season, one thoughtful choice at a time. Across all 9 steps, one truth stands out. A thriving yard starts with paying attention, not just picking pretty plants. It is the small choices about sunlight, space, and purpose that add up to low-stress beauty. Gardening rewards planning more than luck. Thanks for watching, and happy planting.